foreigner is a god. Yeah.
So neighborhood, it's a must. Unless you're living in a forest, you'll be obliged to live with other people as your neighbors. So how is it like being an African having Indian neighbors? Let's talk about that today. So I'm in India for a time, and first I was in hostel, and after that I shifted and went outside of the hostel. So there are kind of two different stories there, and I will start first with the story of having Indian neighbors as in hostel. How was life there with Indians? So mostly in the hostel it's a little bit different. They will be meeting you, asking you questions and being amazed of you, asking your name, where you're from and other stuff. And I don't know about girls, but for boys that's the perfect time to get more friends among Indians. And actually I met most of my friends when I was just new in the hostel, and among them I even got my very first meal, Indian meal, when I was with those friends who I met in the hostel. And among them I even have some of them kind of two, even my best friend now. I did a video with one of them where I just met them when I was still new in the hostel, and one of them is one of my best friend also. Even until now I learn a lot from him, we exchange a lot, and he even started a YouTube channel after me, and I will put the link of his channel so you can check him. He's just a very amazing guy. I met them in the hostel and it was just good living with them. So after that I had other roommates now who were South Indians coming from the southern part of India, and also for them it was just an amazing experience being with them. First thing, they were guys who were really honest. Like, I was just amazed with the way they were with me. I never lost anything when I was with them. They were just in order, calm, and everything was alright. It was just amazing living with such people. So Indians living with them in hostel, at least it's a good thing. There is nothing to fear. Actually, I can even say I can even trust them more than it's fine. And you know, when you'll be with them, they'll be asking you many questions, trying to know about you, trying to know about your culture, giving you some stuff. It's just very good living with such guys. I really enjoyed it. And then come the second part, is the part now outside of the hostel, and this is now have the real neighborhood of Indians. Like, you're living here and another Indian is living here. He's just your neighbor. So first thing, I think it's almost equal at a certain point, because being in hostel as being outside, of course you have the exposure to the Indian culture, but it's not that much enough that there is that lack of being deep into the culture of India. Even if you're foreign, even if you have them as your neighbor, there is that lack of being deep in the culture of your neighbors. And I'm going to give some of the reasons which make it to be so. The very first reason which make it to be hard to get along or to get deep into the Indian culture, even when you have them as your neighbors, there is a bad image of foreigners which block us to meet each other or to be in contact with each other. Like, the media show every day when there have been a problem with foreigners. That's what only media show. When foreigners did good things, the media doesn't speak about it, but when there was something wrong, that's when they show. So it creates a bad image of foreigners. Most of them think that you're drug dealers. I even got someone who commented about that one of my recent videos, saying that African are drug dealers. Yeah, I understand. It's not of his fault or her fault, but it's just that that's what the media shows every day. When there is a problem, that when they speak of it. But when I went to do donation, they never spoke about it. And because of this, some of the neighbors are afraid of Africans, knowing that these guys can be doing wrong things. Like, they're just afraid of them. But I can challenge you for something many Africans are good. What I can challenge you to do, the next day when you will be walking in the street and you meet an African, just stop him, ask him his name, ask him or her what he do or she do, and speak to them nicely. We'll find they're very nice people. Some of them are dancers, singers, basketball players, football players, many talents, and there are a lot of things which they have. It's just that they are afraid. Some people are afraid of them, not knowing how they are, but they are very nice people. It's not that all of them are bad people. They are very nice people, as they can be bad among Indians and bad among Africans. Also, they are good among Indians and good among Africans. As me also, some people also sometimes get afraid of me when I am just a video maker and a simple student. I don't have anything wrong which I do. That's how it is. But let me make something clear. It's not all the Indians who are afraid of us. So many are good with us and they don't have any wrong image about us. It's just that there is a small group who maybe have been influenced by the wrong side of the media. That's why I don't like media. I like informing myself from people, not from media. So the first reason why we are not too much deep into the culture is because we have a barrier because of what the media usually speak about foreigners. Second thing, it's about the language barrier. Most of the times I've been walking around or traveling around places, and sometimes I usually meet good people, but unless that person speak English, it will be really hard for you to be friends to that person. Of course, I got so many friends here, and the majority of them, actually I don't know if I can say the majority, all of them, they must speak English before we become friends. When the big number or the majority of Indians is not that they speak English perfectly. Sometimes you can even find those ones who speak English, but they might not speak English the same way as you. For example, sometimes if I speak fast, they might not understand me, or I can formulate the phrase the way they won't catch it. And some others also, they just feel embarrassed talking to you in English because they fear to be speaking a bad English, when nobody cares about that. Actually, I just need friends. I don't care about the language or all other stuff. So if you need to talk to me and you know you're my neighbor or you're around me, you meet me in the street or anywhere around, and you know that your English is not good, just talk to me. I want friends, I don't want English speakers, please. And the last thing which makes that we don't have a deep relationship with neighbors or with the Indian culture, even when you have Indians as your neighbors, is also the time. Most of us came here for a specific reason. Some it can be for medical purposes, others it can be for tourism, others it can be for school. Everyone has his own reason of being here in India as a foreigner, but it's a little bit hard to get deep into the Indian culture or being too much into the Indian friendship with your neighbors, sometimes because of the time. You may be busy with the school, you may be busy with other stuff which brought you here, and that may not help you, may not facilitate you to be always with other Indians, and from that you can't learn a lot from them. As for example, for me, even if I pass my time with people, the most of the time which I pass with my friends who mostly are Africans, because I used to have Indian friends, and that was when I was in hostel. But then when I changed, everything changed. I always find myself with Africans. If I meet Indians maybe in the shop, going around in taxi or wherever, having less time with Indians also, it's among the things which make us not to be good or deep into our relationship, but we want it. So life with Indians, being neighbor to Indians, at some point it's kind of enjoying. You find yourself being unique among so many people, but somehow we enjoy it. Sometimes I have a lot of people who I know who got their best friends among their neighbors, and they live very well with them. They exchange things, they love each other. Sometimes they can even go on festivals together. It's just a good thing to experience, and I have been also part of that. I had some of the people who have been really helping me a lot, and I've been living with them very fine, and they don't have any problem with it. We just have some little differences. Sometimes Africans, they may like music and maybe the neighbor is not comfortable with it. Sometimes we like talking, shouting and laughing loudly and other stuff, and maybe your neighbor doesn't like it. One of the other things which usually happen to me is that I enjoy smelling when they are cooking. The smell of their food is really nice with spices and all other things, but me, when I'm cooking, my smelling, I have to be careful of it because it's non-veg, and maybe my neighbors don't like non-veg, so you have to be careful with that one. After all, living with Indians is just a good experience. As I said before, you will be finding yourself among so many people being alone, and you need to try to adapt yourself to others, because you are alone among others. You're in the land of someone else. You need to learn how to live in the land of someone else. But then it's really a good thing living in India as a foreigner. There's a lot of experience to learn when you're a neighbor, but there's so many issues which you have. For example, even having a house, that is one of the biggest problem, because most of the times they're afraid of foreigners, so having a house sometimes is the big problem. But one of the things which I really like, and I can be thankful to all the Indians who I ever met all around, is being nice with me. Sometimes you meet those Indians who make you feel home. You meet them, you talk to them. Sometimes when you need a house, they give you a house. When you need anything, they help you. It's just wonderful. They make us feel home. They make us feel that we are now in that India which we know, the India of people who are nice, people who help each other. And I really want to thank them. And if I've been in the street, if you ever met me in the street or in real life, and you helped me even on my YouTube channel, I really be thankful to all the Indians who have been good with me as a foreigner here in India. And Thank you so much for watching my video. This is the end of my video. I ask you also to watch other videos which are also on my channel. Don't forget also to check other Africans who are here in India. If you now want to show love, please show it now. Go and watch the videos of other Africans also who are here in India. I'm going to put the link of their channels in the description. You can go and check them. Also, I will be seeing you next time. Jai Hind.